Hello there, and welcome to the Sleepy Science Zone. As you settle in, I invite you to pause whatever has been pulling at your mind today, because in the next few moments, you're going to drift into a softer universe, one where happiness is not a mystery, but a pattern the human brain has been quietly crafting for millions of years. And maybe, without even realizing it, you've already carried the ingredients for a happier life inside you this entire time. Tonight, we'll explore how those ingredients work, how they shape your resilience, and how they allow your inner world to heal, even in the presence of obstacles that seem immovable. Breathe gently and stay with me. For the next 90 seconds, just let these thoughts wash over you as smoothly as moonlight on still water. It might surprise you to know that neuroscience shows our emotional states are not defined solely by circumstances, but by the cognitive frameworks we adopt. In other words, the stories we tell ourselves sculpt the neural circuits that determine how we experience life. Studies in positive psychology reveal that practices like reframing challenges, nurturing supportive relationships, and maintaining future-oriented goals activate networks in the prefrontal cortex and limbic system that regulate well-being. And yet, tonight, none of this is meant to be a lecture. Instead, imagine it as a gentle invitation to rediscover yourself. Let's begin where every healing journey begins, with acceptance, not of defeat, but of reality. Sam Berns, the young philosopher whose joyful wisdom changed millions of lives, once said that he focused on what he could do because what he could do was enough to build a beautiful life. Modern psychology echoes this truth. When you shift attention from unattainable expectations to achievable actions, your brain decreases activity in regions associated with frustration and amplifies pathways linked to satisfaction and agency. This isn't just motivation, it's biology. The auditory cortex responds to soothing rhythm. Your parasympathetic nervous system begins to rise as you breathe more slowly, and your heart rate variability stabilizes, signaling safety. As your body relaxes, your mind becomes more receptive to new patterns. This is where healing begins. So imagine yourself tonight, standing at the edge of a quiet cosmic shoreline. Stars drift like slow-moving lanterns across a sky that doesn't judge you, doesn't rush you, doesn't ask you to be more than you already are. You feel small, but in a comforting way, as though the weight of every expectation is dissolving into a vast and gentle night. From here, the first principle of a happy life becomes clear. You don't have to do everything. You don't have to be everything. You only need to honor the things that are possible for you. Because the human mind grows stronger, not from perfection, but from alignment with what is truly meaningful. What you can do is enough. What you can love is enough. What you can become, slowly, softly, steadily, is also enough. Just breathe and let that truth settle inside you like a warm ember. Tonight, we begin a journey not toward a different life, but toward a different way of holding the life you already have. There is a moment, just before the mind begins to drift, when everything becomes softer. Your breath, your thoughts, even the space around your body. Let yourself settle into that moment now. Feel the slow expansion of your chest, the quiet retreat of tension from your jaw, the subtle shift as your nervous system begins its descent into calm. This chapter is an invitation to explore one of the most healing mechanisms your brain possesses: the ability to let go. Not as an act of surrender, but as a biological strategy for well-being. For the first 30 seconds, hold this idea gently. Your brain is not designed to cling. It is designed to adapt. Deep within the limbic system, structures like the amygdala coordinate emotional responses, scanning for danger and storing memory fragments linked to fear or uncertainty. This was essential in ancient environments where vigilance meant survival. But in modern life, the same circuitry can become overloaded. When you ruminate, replaying negative events, conversations, what-ifs, your amygdala remains active far beyond necessity, sending stress signals through your bloodstream as if a threat were still present. Cortisol spreads, muscles tighten, heart rhythms grow less flexible. Your body reenacts the past over and over. But letting go, gently, slowly, intentionally, quiets this system. Research in effective neuroscience shows that when you release cognitive loops, the prefrontal cortex regains control, downregulating the amygdala and activating pathways tied to emotional regulation and resilience. This is why acceptance is not passive. It is neurological alignment. And why people like Sam Berns, living with challenges far beyond the ordinary, could still say with complete sincerity, "I have a very happy life." He practiced selective attention, focusing not on impossible tasks, but on achievable joys: scouting, music, friendship. In doing so, he reshaped his brain's emotional landscape. So as you listen, imagine your mind as a quiet shoreline at night. The air is warm, touched by the faint scent of salt and drifting wind. In the distance, constellations rest lazily across a velvet sky. At your feet, the ocean draws long, rhythmic breaths. Each wave a slow rise, a slow fall, mirroring your own breathing. You kneel by the water's edge, noticing small fragments of your day resting in your hands. A worry, a regret, a moment that clung to you too tightly. They're not heavy because they are important. They are heavy because you've carried them alone. With your next exhale, gently place one of those fragments onto the surface of the water. Watch how the tide accepts it without judgment. It doesn't pull it under. It doesn't force it back to you. It simply carries it forward, like time, like healing, like the natural direction of life. This is the science of letting go, allowing the brain to stop rehearsing danger, permitting your body to exit survival mode, and creating room for new neural patterns that support peace rather than tension. You don't erase the memory. You transform your relationship to it. The ocean keeps moving, and so do you. Let each thought drift further away with each slow, quiet breath, until all that remains is the gentle rise and fall of your inner tide, steady and unburdened. There is a curious truth woven into the biology of human happiness. The brain becomes calmer, clearer, and more resilient when it shifts its attention toward what is possible rather than what is impossible. Tonight, as you drift deeper into this quiet space, let that truth wrap around you like a soft blanket. Your body is settling, your breathing slowing, your thoughts loosening their grip. And in this softened state, you can explore the gentle science of capability, the art of honoring what you can do without being weighed down by what you cannot. Neuroscientists call this principle attentional bias modification, a phenomenon where directing focus toward positive or neutral stimuli reduces the brain's threat response. When you dwell on limitations, the amygdala lights up, activating stress pathways that tighten your chest and sharpen your internal alarms. But when you place your attention on achievable actions, no matter how small, the prefrontal cortex begins to regulate the emotional centers of the brain, restoring balance and clarity. Sam Berns understood this intuitively. Despite living with progeria, he chose to concentrate on activities that brought him joy: music, scouting, friends. His happiness did not come from ignoring difficulty, but from embracing the vast territory of experiences still available to him. Imagine now a quiet observatory beneath a wide and moonless sky. You stand within it, surrounded by glass walls that reveal the great, dark canvas of the universe. Inside this space, the air is still, almost shimmering. Rows of telescopes sit waiting like gentle giants. One by one, the domed ceiling opens, and above you, constellations breathe themselves into view. Some stars are faint, some are impossibly bright. Not every star is visible tonight, but the ones that are, those are the ones you can explore. You approach a telescope and place your hands lightly on its cool frame. As you peer through the lens, the swirling light of a distant nebula comes into focus. This nebula represents your abilities, the real tangible things within your reach. They may not be infinite, but they are magnificent. Studies show that when people identify and engage with their strengths, levels of dopamine and serotonin gently rise, creating an internal environment that supports motivation, healing, and long-term well-being. It is not wishful thinking, it is neurochemistry. Let your mind drift to one thing you can do tonight. Something small, gentle, honest. Maybe it is resting. Maybe it is forgiving yourself for not meeting a standard that was never meant for you. Maybe it is being grateful for someone who stood by you. Each of these simple acts activates neural networks linked to resilience. Each one is a star in your personal night sky. And in this observatory, surrounded by everything possible, you begin to understand. You do not need to chase every dream at once. You only need to honor the ones that are shining for you now. Your capabilities are not limitations. They are doorways, guiding you softly toward a life shaped not by what is missing, but by what is beautifully, undeniably yours. There is a warmth that enters the body when you think of someone who truly cares for you, a warmth measurable in the softening of the nervous system, the gentle release of oxytocin, the increased steadiness in the rhythm of your heart. Humans are social creatures, not simply by choice, but by design. Tonight, as your mind settles like dust floating in a sunbeam, we explore the science and the serenity of surrounding yourself with good people. The quality of your relationships is one of the strongest predictors of long-term happiness. According to decades of research in developmental psychology and neuroscience, supportive social bonds reduce inflammation, stabilize stress hormones, and activate reward pathways in the brain. When you are with people who see you, truly see you, the mirror neuron system becomes engaged, allowing your brain to synchronize emotionally with theirs. This is why kindness feels like safety. This is why companionship feels like healing. Sam Berns spoke about the people he surrounded himself with: family, friends, mentors, bandmates. They were not perfect. They were not extraordinary. They were simply present, loving, and genuine. and that was enough to shape the emotional landscape of his life. It echoed a powerful truth. The right people do not change your circumstances. They change your chemistry. Now imagine yourself in a quiet forest clearing at dusk. Fireflies rise from the grass like tiny lanterns, drifting in gentle, glowing waves. The air is cool but not cold, scented with pine and soft earth. You sit upon a fallen log, its surface smooth from years of wind and rain. Around you, invisible but deeply felt, are the people who make your life lighter. You may picture them clearly, or feel them only as warmth in your chest, but they are here with you. With each breath, you sense memories of laughter, encouragement, shared silence, and small kindnesses. Neuroscience shows that recalling supportive interactions activates the same neural circuits as experiencing them in real time. Your brain cannot distinguish between memory and presence. It only recognizes safety. Let yourself feel that safety now. A gentle breeze moves through the clearing, carrying the faint rustle of leaves. In this moment, you understand that healing does not always happen in isolation. Sometimes it is delivered through a friend's voice, a quiet moment, a shared smile, or simply knowing that you are not walking alone. And if you feel lonely tonight, remember this: connection begins with openness. Your brain is wired to bond, to resonate, to build trust slowly and beautifully. There are people, maybe already in your life, maybe still on their way, who will strengthen your world the way stars strengthen the night sky, not by overwhelming it, but by lighting it gently. You deserve people who bring you peace. You deserve people who help you breathe easier. And as the fireflies drift upward like rising constellations, you realize something soft and true. Good people are not just part of a happy life. They are one of its most healing foundations. There is a quiet moment in every healing journey when the past loosens its hold and the future leans toward you like a soft light in the distance. That moment is not loud or dramatic. It feels more like a gentle shift, a small internal tilt toward possibility. Tonight, as your breath lengthens and your body sinks deeper into comfort, we explore the science behind one of the most powerful principles of emotional well-being: the ability to keep moving forward. Hope is not abstract. It is not naive optimism or blind positivity. In neuroscience, hope is a biological process involving the anterior cingulate cortex and the prefrontal cortex, regions of the brain responsible for planning, decision-making, and emotional regulation. When you imagine a future event, even something simple, your brain releases a careful blend of dopamine that motivates movement and softens emotional distress. Just the act of anticipating something meaningful, even a small joy, creates measurable shifts in your physiology. Sam Berns lived this truth with remarkable clarity. Despite significant medical challenges, he always had something to look forward to: a comic book release, a band rehearsal, a school football game, a conversation with friends. These were not distractions. They were neurochemical anchors, signals that life still held warmth, curiosity, and opportunity. Close your eyes now, slowly, gently, and imagine yourself walking along a quiet, starlit path. The sky is deep blue, scattered with shimmering constellations that pulse like distant heartbeats. A soft wind brushes against you, carrying the scent of night-blooming flowers and cool earth. Ahead, the path curves, its end hidden, but its direction unmistakably forward. As you take each step, you feel something shift within you. The weight of past worries grows lighter. Your heartbeat steadies. The path glows faintly under your feet, as though guiding you towards something waiting patiently just beyond the horizon. You do not need to know what it is. Your brain simply needs the direction, the sense that there is a horizon to activate your inner resilience. Studies show that people who believe in future possibilities experience lower inflammatory markers, more stable cardiovascular patterns, and improved emotional flexibility. Hope creates a biological environment where healing can occur, not because circumstances disappear, but because your brain begins preparing for what comes next, instead of replaying what already happened. Tonight, let that forward motion be gentle. You are not asked to sprint. You are not asked to achieve. You are simply invited to imagine one thing, just one, that you might look forward to in the coming days. Something small enough to hold in your hands, but bright enough to warm your heart. A conversation, a quiet morning, a favorite song, a moment of rest. Whatever it is, place it like a lantern at the end of your starlit path. Feel how your mind shifts slightly toward it. Feel how your breath deepens, how your chest softens. This is hope. This is healing. This is how you keep moving forward, one gentle, glowing step at a time. Acceptance is often misunderstood. Many people believe it means giving up, letting circumstances win, or losing the battle against adversity. But acceptance, in its truest psychological form, is not defeat. It is clarity. It is a recognition of what is real, paired with the wisdom to stop fighting what cannot be changed. When the nervous system accepts reality rather than resisting it, the entire body begins to exhale. Acceptance activates a network of brain regions known as the default mode and salience networks, shifting your awareness from emotional agitation to reflective calm. When you acknowledge an uncomfortable truth, gently, without judgment, the amygdala reduces its alarm signals. Muscles unclench, breathing deepens, cortisol levels drop. It is not that the situation improves instantly. Rather, your relationship to the situation transforms. Sam Berns expressed this beautifully. He didn't claim that progeria was easy. He didn't pretend it had no consequences. Instead, he learned how to hold his condition the way one holds a fragile stone, carefully, respectfully, without letting it dominate his identity. In doing so, he unlocked a level of peace that allowed joy to coexist with difficulty. Imagine now that you're seated beside a still mountain lake just as dawn begins to bloom across the sky. The water is glass-like, reflecting soft hues of rose and silver. Each breath you take sends gentle ripples across the surface, expanding outward in quiet circles. On your lap rests a small stone, smooth, cool, perfectly shaped by time. This stone represents something in your life that cannot be changed. It is neither good nor bad. It simply is. As you hold it, notice the shift inside your chest. You're not fighting the weight of the stone. You're not rejecting it. You're simply acknowledging its existence. This alone eases the mind's resistance and reduces internal conflict. Psychological studies show that acceptance increases emotional resilience, improves coping strategies, and even enhances cognitive flexibility. You watch the first rays of sunlight touch the lake, transforming the previously still water into a field of glittering reflections. In this moment, you understand Your peace does not depend on eliminating every challenge. It depends on reducing the struggle against what already exists. With a soft exhale, you gently place the stone beside you on the shore. Not thrown away, not hidden, simply set down. And suddenly, the world feels just a little wider, a little lighter, a little more yours. When you accept without surrender, you free your mind from the exhausting work of resisting what cannot be changed. And in that freedom, healing begins to bloom. There is a gentle strength woven into the human nervous system, a kind of internal elasticity that allows you to bend under pressure without breaking. Tonight, as your breath slows and your thoughts begin to unspool into soft threads, we explore the science of emotional resilience, the ability to recover, adapt, and continue forward even when life presents challenges that feel impossibly heavy. Resilience is not a personality trait. It is a biological capacity shaped by experience, environment, and mindset. When you feel overwhelmed, your sympathetic nervous system activates, tightening your muscles and quickening your pulse. But when you practice reframing, acceptance, or compassionate thinking, the prefrontal cortex steps in to calm the amygdala, guiding your body back toward balance. This is the dance between stress and stability, between survival and renewal. As you sink deeper into rest, imagine a tall tree standing at the edge of a vast meadow. Its branches sway gently in the wind, its roots anchored deep in the earth. No matter how forceful the gusts, the tree bends without snapping. This bendability is not a weakness. It is the reason it survives. Similarly, the human brain strengthens its resilience through mild, repeated challenges followed by recovery. Research in neuroplasticity shows that every time you face a difficulty and return to emotional equilibrium, your brain rewires itself to handle future stress with greater ease. Let your mind drift to a moment in your past. Something small, something quiet, where you overcame uncertainty or fear. Perhaps you reached out for help. Perhaps you showed patience. Perhaps you simply kept breathing when everything felt overwhelming. These moments, though often forgotten, build the scaffolding of resilience within you. You are stronger than you realize, not because you never fall, but because you always find a way to rise again. Now picture yourself walking through the meadow. The grass brushes softly against your legs, swaying like waves in a gentle tide. Above you, the sky stretches endlessly, painted in dusky shades of lavender and blue. The world feels open, wide, and forgiving. Each step you take sends a signal through your body. You are safe enough to keep going. You are capable enough to grow. You are resilient enough to heal. Emotional resilience at its core is not about avoiding pain. It is about trusting your ability to move through it. And as you breathe deeper, letting your shoulders fall into a state of ease, you begin to feel that trust settling inside you, not as a loud declaration, but as a soft, steady truth. You are adaptable. You are evolving. You are held by an internal strength that has carried you through countless unseen storms. In this stillness, resilience no longer feels like effort. It feels like a gentle current beneath your feet, guiding you forward with quiet, unwavering support. You do not need to force it. You only need to allow it to carry you, one breath at a time. Kindness may feel like a simple human gesture, but its effects ripple far deeper, down into the chemistry of your bloodstream, the rhythms of your heart, and the electrical currents of your brain. As your body softens into rest, we turn to the science of kindness and the remarkable way it shapes your inner landscape, often without you even noticing. Kindness stimulates the release of oxytocin, sometimes called the bonding hormone, which enhances feelings of trust and connection. It also reduces amygdala activity, easing fear and social anxiety. Even witnessing kindness, hearing it, imagining it, activates reward circuits in the brain, increasing serotonin and dopamine in subtle, restorative waves. Think for a moment about someone who showed you kindness when they didn't have to. Maybe they listened. Maybe they supported you. Maybe they simply smiled in a moment when you needed warmth. As you recall this, notice how your breath steadies, how your chest feels slightly lighter. The body recognizes kindness as safety. Sam Berns understood this deeply. He spoke often of the people who lifted his life: family, friends, mentors, bandmates. Their kindness didn't erase his challenges, but it illuminated the path ahead, making it easier to walk. This is the physiology of kindness. It does not solve every problem, but it makes the journey more bearable, more meaningful, more humane. Imagine now a small glowing lantern resting in your palms. Its light is warm, golden, and soft, flickering gently like a heartbeat. Each pulse represents an act of kindness, given, received, or simply observed. The lantern grows brighter with every memory you offer it. When you think of a kind word, the glow deepens. When you think of someone who stood beside you, the lantern warms your hands. When you think of a moment where you chose compassion for yourself, its light expands even further. Now, lift the lantern slightly and imagine its glow spreading around you, softening the air, warming the space within your chest. This is what kindness does within the body. It opens tight places. It soothes the nervous system. It reminds you that you are connected to something larger than your worries. Studies in behavioral psychology show that practicing small acts of kindness increases overall life satisfaction and reduces symptoms of anxiety and depression. Even a simple intention to be kind rewires neural pathways related to empathy and emotional regulation. And as the lantern's light continues to brighten around you, you realize something important. Kindness is not merely something you offer to others. It is something you can offer to yourself, gently, patiently, without conditions. A soft hand on the heart, a forgiving thought, a quiet reminder that you are worthy of gentleness. As the lantern dims into a peaceful shimmer, let that truth settle inside you like a warm ember. Kindness toward yourself, toward others, is one of the most profound forms of healing your body and mind can experience. As the night deepens around you, your body begins to enter a quieter rhythm, your breath settling, your mind loosening its tight hold on the day. In this softened space, we explore a healing principle that neuroscience and psychology both celebrate: the transformative power of self-compassion. Many people believe self-compassion is indulgence or weakness, but the science reveals something different, something gentle, profound, and deeply biological. Self-compassion activates the brain's caregiving system, triggering the release of oxytocin and endogenous opioids that soothe distress. The harsh, self-critical voice, long associated with amygdala activation and stress responses, begins to fade when kindness replaces judgment. The prefrontal cortex re-engages, restoring clarity and emotional balance. In essence, self-compassion is not letting yourself off the hook. It is allowing your nervous system to return to safety so that growth becomes possible. Imagine now that you're sitting in a quiet room filled with warm, amber light. The walls glow softly like the inside of a lantern. There's a cushion beneath you, supporting your body with perfect gentleness. In front of you is a small handheld mirror. When you lift it, you don't see flaws or failures. You see someone who has survived every difficult moment. Someone who has carried burdens no one else fully understands. Someone who kept going even when rest seemed impossible. Let your breath expand slowly as you take in that reflection. In clinical studies, people who practice self-compassion show lower cortisol levels, faster emotional recovery, and greater resilience after setbacks. This is because the brain interprets self-kindness as safety, shifting away from fight-or-flight responses. Self-criticism, on the other hand, is processed as threat, tightening the body, narrowing attention, and amplifying fear. But tonight, here in this warm, lantern-lit room, there is no threat, only softness, only warmth, only recognition. Think of one moment recently when you were hard on yourself, harder than you would ever be on someone you love. Let that moment appear as if gently placed in your hands. You don't have to justify it or analyze it. Just notice it. Now imagine speaking to yourself the way you would speak to a dear friend in pain, with gentleness, patience, and understanding. You are allowed to be imperfect. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to begin again. Slowly, the reflection in the mirror seems to soften, not because you are changing your image, but because you are changing the way you hold it. This is self-compassion in action, a shift in relationship, not identity. The lantern light around you brightens just a little. Your chest loosens. Your breath deepens. And you begin to understand a quiet truth. Treating yourself with kindness is not a luxury. It is a biological necessity, one that allows your brain and heart to heal in ways that self-judgment never could. Let the warmth of that understanding settle into your body like a gentle glow, illuminating even the places you thought were too wounded to touch. They are not. They are waiting for your kindness. Gratitude is often described as a simple emotional state, but to the brain, it is a powerful physiological event. As you sink a little deeper into rest, feel how your breath grows smoother, how your muscles quietly release their final tensions. This relaxed state is the perfect landscape for exploring gratitude's subtle, healing influence. When you feel genuine gratitude, even for something small, the brain releases dopamine and activates the medial prefrontal cortex, a region associated with emotional regulation and empathy. Functional MRI studies show that gratitude increases connectivity between neural networks involved in happiness and resilience. It also reduces the activity of brain regions linked to envy and comparison. In other words, gratitude doesn't just make you feel better. It changes how your brain processes reality. So imagine yourself sitting beside a calm lake at night, the water still as polished glass. The sky above is scattered with stars, each one shimmering faintly like a distant memory. A gentle breeze moves across the water, creating small ripples that sparkle under the moonlight. In your lap rests a small wooden box. Inside this box are the moments you are grateful for. Not dramatic achievements, not grand victories, but quiet acts of goodness that marked your life in delicate ways. Perhaps the sound of someone's laughter, the warmth of a morning sunbeam, the softness of a blanket on a cold night, a message from someone who remembered you, a moment when you surprised yourself with strength you didn't know you had. As you open the box, each memory glows faintly, illuminating your hands. You lift one piece of gratitude gently, like holding a fragile star. Immediately, your chest feels warmer, lighter. Research shows that even recalling a moment of gratitude increases parasympathetic activity, calming the heartbeat and reducing anxiety. You look out across the lake as these glowing fragments rise from the box, drifting upward into the night air. They float like lanterns, illuminating the water in a soft amber shimmer. With every lantern that rises, your breathing deepens, your thoughts quiet, your mind becomes steadier, because gratitude shifts your attention from what is lacking to what is abundant. Sam Berns embodied this naturally. Even in the face of immense difficulty, he focused on the people who supported him, the joys he could experience, the dreams he could pursue. Gratitude didn't erase his challenges. It anchored him within them. As the final lantern drifts skyward, the lake below becomes a mirror of quiet light, reflecting a truth you can feel but do not need to name. Your life contains more warmth than your worries allow you to see. And even now, in this moment of stillness, that warmth is expanding through your body, gently, steadily, like a tide returning home. Let the glow of gratitude rest within you, guiding your breath, softening your mind, and opening a doorway to deeper healing. There is a delicate equilibrium inside every human heart, a rhythm of sensations, thoughts, and neural signals that gently rise and fall like waves beneath a pale morning sky. As your body melts further into rest, this chapter invites you to explore the science of emotional balance, the state where neither joy nor sorrow overwhelms you, where your inner world remains steady despite the shifting weather of life. Emotional equilibrium is supported by a network of brain regions, especially the prefrontal cortex and the anterior cingulate cortex. These regions help regulate emotional responses, stabilize mood, and integrate logical thought with feeling. When balanced, these systems allow you to experience emotions fully without being consumed by them. This is not suppressing your feelings. It is creating space around them, enough space for wisdom, patience, and perspective to grow. Imagine yourself sitting at the center of an enormous silent garden. The air is cool and still, carrying the faint scent of jasmine and moss. A circular reflecting pool lies before you, its surface so smooth it looks like a polished mirror. This pool represents your emotional state. When unbalanced, the surface ripples wildly with every disturbance, every fear, every doubt, every moment of frustration. But when your inner world settles, the pool becomes calm enough to reflect the sky clearly. Take a slow breath and imagine placing your hand just above the water without touching it. As you exhale, the water steadies even more. This imagery mirrors what happens within your body. Slow breathing increases vagal tone, activating the parasympathetic nervous system and stabilizing your emotional landscape. What looks like serenity on the outside is actually a complex, beautifully synchronized biological response. Think of a recent moment when an emotion felt overwhelming, like a sudden storm inside your chest. Now imagine that same moment viewed through the surface of this calm pool. The emotion is still there, but softened, held within a space where it can be observed without drowning you. This is emotional equilibrium. Not the absence of emotion, but the ability to witness emotion with compassion rather than fear. Sam Berns embodied this principle in every part of his life. He acknowledged his limitations, his obstacles, his fears, but he did not let them distort the entire reflection of his world. He allowed space for joy, curiosity, and connection. That spaciousness is what allowed him to say truthfully, "I have a very happy life." And happiness, in many ways, is simply emotional equilibrium over time. As you sit beside the reflecting pool, the first rays of moonlight touch the water, illuminating a soft silver glow. You notice that your breath feels a little deeper, your thoughts a little calmer, your body a little heavier in the most comforting way. Emotional balance isn't a destination, it is a practice, shaped breath by breath, moment by moment. Let the pool remain still inside you tonight. Let your heart remain balanced, steady, and open. The world will shift around you, but your inner garden can remain calm. In a world that constantly urges you to hurry, the simple act of slowing down becomes a form of rebellion and a profound form of healing. As your breath falls into a smooth, unhurried cadence, this chapter explores the science behind the peacefulness you feel when you allow yourself to move gently, think gently, and exist gently. When you slow down, the brain transitions from high-frequency beta waves into more relaxed alpha waves. These waves are associated with creativity, reflection, and emotional calm. Your nervous system, once caught in cycles of urgency and vigilance, begins to shift toward parasympathetic dominance. Heart rate decreases, muscles loosen, attention widens. You return to a state your body recognizes as home. Imagine yourself in a quiet room filled with soft sunlight, the kind that drifts lazily through sheer curtains. Dust particles float like tiny stars in a warm golden atmosphere. A wooden clock ticks gently in the background, not to rush you, but to remind you of the beauty in each passing moment. Here, time does not chase you. It walks beside you. Slowing down is not a loss of productivity. It is the restoration of clarity. Cognitive science shows that when the mind is overstimulated, the prefrontal cortex becomes less efficient, leading to impulsive decisions, overwhelm, and emotional reactivity. But when you reduce your mental speed, when you allow yourself to breathe, observe, and rest, the brain reorganizes itself into a more harmonious pattern. You become capable of deeper thought, more creativity, and better emotional regulation. Think of an animal you admire, a sea turtle gliding through blue water, or a deer stepping softly across a forest floor. They move with purpose, not urgency. There is wisdom in their pace. They conserve energy. They listen to their environment. They do exactly what they need to do, no more, no less. And in doing so, they thrive. Sam Berns often spoke of looking forward to small, slow joys, a comic book, a football game, a quiet moment with friends. These were not grand achievements. They were gentle pauses that allowed his life to expand with meaning rather than collapse under pressure. Now imagine yourself stepping outside into a slow-moving world. The trees sway in languid rhythms. Clouds drift like brushed silk across the sky. The wind carries itself with a patient hum. Everything moves at a pace that allows you to breathe fully, Think clearly and feel deeply. Your body responds almost immediately. Shoulders lower, jaw softens, thoughts decelerate. You begin to remember what it feels like to be present rather than pulled. And in this slowing, you discover a quiet truth. Peace is not something you chase. Peace is something you allow. Let yourself slow down tonight. Let your mind move at the speed of your breath. Let your inner world expand gently, like light spreading across a quiet morning. This is where healing lives. In the softness between one moment and the next. There is a quiet alignment that occurs within the human body when you move towards something meaningful. Not something grand or impressive, not something that earns applause, but something that resonates with who you are beneath all expectations. Tonight, as your breath deepens and steadies, we explore the neuroscience of purpose. The way a sense of direction can soothe the mind, strengthen resilience, and guide healing. Purpose engages the brain's reward circuitry, including areas such as the ventral striatum and the medial prefrontal cortex. These systems regulate motivation, emotional stability, and long-term satisfaction. When you pursue something that matters to you, dopamine is released in smooth, encouraging waves, not the erratic spikes associated with stress or addiction, but the gentle, sustainable flow that supports well-being and inner balance. Purpose doesn't need to be large. In fact, research shows that small, consistent goals, reading a chapter, tending a plant, learning something new, helping a friend, have a profound impact on life satisfaction. It is the act of moving forward that nurtures the nervous system. Close your eyes and imagine yourself in a quiet valley just as dawn is breaking. The air is cool, tinged with the scent of earth and wildflowers. A path winds ahead of you, not straight, but beautifully curved, disappearing into soft morning fog. You don't know exactly where it leads, but you know it leads somewhere. And that alone brings comfort. Each step you take feels light and grounded. The earth supports you. The sky opens softly above you. You feel guided, not by urgency, but by gentle intention. This is how purpose feels inside the body. Not pressure, not perfection, but orientation. A direction that helps your brain filter information, stabilize emotions, and regulate stress. Even the anticipation of purposeful activity releases neurochemicals that deepen calm and enhance cognitive clarity. Sam Berns embodied this principle with remarkable purity. His dreams were not shaped by what he lacked, but by what lit him up inside. Music, learning, friendship, scientific curiosity. Purpose allowed him to navigate difficulty while maintaining joy. Let yourself imagine a purpose right now. Something small, meaningful, and honest. Something that belongs to you, not to anyone else's expectations. Hold it gently in your mind. Feel the warmth of it in your chest. Notice how your breath subtly deepens as you picture it. Purpose is not a burden. It is a lantern. When held softly, it illuminates the path just enough for the next step. As the morning fog in the valley begins to thin, the path ahead brightens slightly. You don't need to see the whole journey. You only need to take the next step with quiet intention. And in that step, your body remembers how to heal, not through force, but through gentle, meaningful direction. As your body continues to soften into rest, you may feel a natural desire for predictability, a sense of rhythm that reassures the nervous system that the world is safe, stable, and familiar. This chapter explores the healing science of routine, the quiet structure that supports emotional balance and cognitive clarity. Human biology is rhythmic. The circadian system orchestrates sleep cycles, hormone release, digestion, and even emotional processing. When your daily life includes gentle routines, waking, resting, eating, reflecting, the brain perceives stability. This consistency reduces amygdala vigilance and enhances prefrontal control. Simply put, routines calm your system because they signal that you are safe enough to relax. Imagine now a small cabin deep in the woods. A fireplace glows quietly inside, filling the room with amber light. On a wooden table sits a cup of warm tea, a journal, and a lit candle. Outside, snow falls in slow, steady flakes, covering the forest in soft, white silence. Every evening in this cabin, you follow the same gentle sequence. Boil water, pour tea, sit by the fire, breathe deeply, and let the quiet hold you. You repeat these steps not out of obligation, but because they cradle your nervous system in familiarity. Rhythmic habits, especially peaceful ones, entrain the brain into patterns of stability. Studies show that predictable routines lower stress hormones, improve sleep quality, and enhance emotional regulation through increased parasympathetic activity. It is not the complexity of the routine that matters, it is its consistency. Think of a routine in your own life that brings comfort: a morning stretch, an evening walk, a few quiet minutes of reflection, listening to a familiar song. These simple patterns act like anchors. No matter how unpredictable the day becomes, your routines remind your brain that there is a steady place within you, a place untouched by chaos. Sam Berns found comfort in the routines that shaped his life: band rehearsals, school activities, cherished hobbies. They gave rhythm to his days and allowed joy to flow naturally into the spaces created by consistency. Now imagine yourself sitting inside the cabin, wrapped in a warm wool blanket. The fire crackles softly. The world outside fades into white quiet. You lift the cup of tea to your lips, its warmth grounding you in your body, anchoring your mind. Each element of this ritual, the flame, the scent, the sound of snow, becomes a signal to your nervous system. You are safe. You can soften. You can rest. Let the rhythm of your own routines hold you tonight. Let their gentle predictability settle your breath, relax your mind, and prepare your body for deeper peace. Routine is not confinement. It is a soft structure that allows healing to bloom. As your body continues to soften into rest, you may feel a natural desire for predictability, a sense of rhythm that reassures the nervous system that the world is safe, stable, and familiar. This chapter explores the healing science of routine, the quiet structure that supports emotional balance and cognitive clarity. Human biology is rhythmic. The circadian system orchestrates sleep cycles, hormone release, digestion, and even emotional processing. When your daily life includes gentle routines, waking, resting, eating, reflecting, the brain perceives stability. This consistency reduces amygdala vigilance and enhances prefrontal control. Simply put, routines calm your system because they signal that you are safe enough to relax. Imagine now a small cabin deep in the woods. A fireplace glows quietly inside, filling the room with amber light. On a wooden table sits a cup of warm tea, a journal, and a lit candle. Outside, snow falls in slow, steady flakes, covering the forest in soft white silence. Every evening in this cabin, You follow the same gentle sequence. Boil water, pour tea, sit by the fire, breathe deeply, and let the quiet hold you. You repeat these steps not out of obligation, but because they cradle your nervous system in familiarity. Rhythmic habits, especially peaceful ones, entrain the brain into patterns of stability. Studies show that predictable routines lower stress hormones, improve sleep quality, and enhance emotional regulation through increased parasympathetic activity. It is not the complexity of the routine that matters, it is its consistency. Think of a routine in your own life that brings comfort. A morning stretch, an evening walk, a few quiet minutes of reflection, listening to a familiar song. These simple patterns act like anchors. No matter how unpredictable the day becomes, your routines remind your brain that there is a steady place within you, a place untouched by chaos. Sam Berns found comfort in the routines that shaped his life. Band rehearsals, school activities, cherished hobbies. They gave rhythm to his days and allowed joy to flow naturally into the spaces created by consistency. Now imagine yourself sitting inside the cabin, wrapped in a warm wool blanket. The fire crackles softly. The world outside fades into white quiet. You lift the cup of tea to your lips, its warmth grounding you in your body, anchoring your mind. Each element of this ritual, the flame, the scent, the sound of snow, becomes a signal to your nervous system. You are safe. You can soften. You can rest. Let the rhythm of your own routines hold you tonight. Let their gentle predictability settle your breath, relax your mind, and prepare your body for deeper peace. Routine is not confinement. It is a soft structure that allows healing to bloom. There is a quiet truth written into the architecture of your brain. You are never meant to carry everything by yourself. Humans are wired for connection so deeply that isolation registers in the brain similarly to physical pain. Tonight, as your breath eases and the world softens around you, we explore the healing science of support, the kind that surrounds you gently, the kind that strengthens your heart without demanding anything in return. Oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone, is released during moments of trust, affection, and emotional closeness. It lowers blood pressure, reduces cortisol, and quiets the amygdala's alarm signals. Simply being near someone who cares about you, someone who listens, someone who looks at you with warmth, changes your physiology in measurable, healing ways. Your heart rate becomes more coherent. Your vagus nerve becomes more active. Your internal world becomes safer. Imagine now a quiet mountainside village at dusk, where lanterns bloom one by one in windows carved from warm timber. You walk along a stone path lined with gentle golden light. In the center of the village is a long wooden table, set beneath a canopy of trees. Lanterns hang above it like glowing fruit. People gather here not to impress each other, not to solve anything, but simply to share presence. You take a seat at the table. Someone places a warm bowl in front of you. Someone else smiles softly. You feel your shoulders drop, your breath deepen, your body remembering what it feels like to be held by community. In psychology, this is called co-regulation, the process by which one nervous system calms in the presence of another. When you are with someone who is grounded, your own emotional rhythms begin to mirror theirs. The opposite is true as well. Isolation overactivates threat detection, making the world feel heavier than it truly is. Sam Berns spoke often of the people who lifted him, his family, his friends, his bandmates. They were not extraordinary. They were simply present. And presence is a form of medicine. Think of the people who bring steadiness to your life. Picture them around you at this long table beneath the glowing lanterns. Maybe they are there in person. Maybe they are there in memory. Maybe they are future companions you have not yet met, but who will one day walk beside you. As you imagine them, feel how your chest grows warmer, how the space inside you expands, how the weight you've been carrying feels just a little lighter. Support does not mean weakness. It means you are human. It means your biology recognizes that shared burdens are easier to bear. And tonight, you are not alone. Not here, not in this quiet space of healing. You are held by the gentle truth that having good people around you is not a luxury. It is a fundamental requirement for emotional well-being. Let that truth settle within you like a soft, glowing lantern. Let it steady your breath and loosen your heart. You deserve support, not someday, not if you earn it, but now, simply because you exist. Adaptability is one of the most remarkable features of the human mind. It is both delicate and powerful, allowing you to adjust your inner world when circumstances refuse to bend. Tonight, as your breathing slows and your thoughts drift like feathers on still air, we explore the healing science behind adaptability, the gentle flexibility that allows you to keep moving forward even when life changes without asking your permission. At the biological level, adaptability is governed by neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections. Each time you face a challenge and find a new way to navigate it, your brain rewires pathways, strengthening circuits associated with creativity, emotional regulation, and resilience. This is how growth happens, not through force, but through repeated gentle adjustments. Imagine now a river flowing through a wide valley. Its path is not straight. It curves, widens, narrows, shifts. When it meets an obstacle, a fallen tree, a cluster of rocks, it does not fight. It simply finds a new path. The water remains water. Its essence does not change. Only its route does. This is adaptability, the art of remaining yourself while learning how to move differently. Sam Berns embodied this beautifully when he found innovative ways to participate fully in the activities he loved. When he could not carry a standard snare drum, an engineer helped design a lighter harness. When obstacles arose, he did not deny them. He reimagined them. Adaptability is creativity born from necessity, healing born from flexibility. Bring your attention now to your breath. Feel how each inhale is slightly different from the one before it. No breath is identical, yet each keeps you alive. Your lungs expand, contract, adjust. This natural variability mirrors how your mind adapts, gently, subtly, continuously. Think of a moment in your life when you had to adjust, when things did not go as planned, when reality shifted beneath your feet. You survived that moment not because everything stayed the same, but because you shifted. You found a new path. You became water. Research shows that people who cultivate adaptability experience lower stress, greater life satisfaction, and stronger emotional recovery. Adaptability reduces the brain's perception of threat because it teaches the nervous system that even when changes occur, safety is still possible. Now return to the image of the river. Watch it curve gracefully through the valley, glistening beneath the soft light of dawn. Notice how its flexibility gives it strength. Notice how it continues forward even when the landscape changes. and feel that same fluidity begin to move within you, a quiet confidence that no matter what tomorrow asks of you, you can meet it with gentleness and creativity. Let adaptability become your strength tonight. Let it guide you softly, like water finding its way home. There is a stillness deep within the human mind, a quiet pool untouched by noise, expectation, or fear. Most people never reach it during the day. The world is too loud, thoughts too demanding, the body too tense. But at night, when your breath slows and the soft edges of sleep begin to form, that inner pool becomes easier to approach. Tonight, we explore the gentle science of inner peace, not the absence of difficulty, but the presence of calm beneath it. Inner peace is supported by the brain's parasympathetic nervous system, which regulates rest, digestion, healing, and recovery. When activated, the vagus nerve slows the heart, lowers blood pressure, and signals the brain that you are safe enough to relax. This safety, real or perceived, allows emotional tension to release. It allows thoughts to soften. It allows healing to begin. Inner peace is not mystical. It is biological harmony. Imagine now that you are stepping into a quiet ancient library, its tall windows draped in moonlight. Dust floats gently through the air like drifting stars. Shelves filled with old books stretch toward a high arched ceiling. Despite the vastness of the space, everything feels calm, warm, familiar. You walk between the shelves until you reach a small wooden table in the corner. On it rests a single book with no title. When you open it, the pages are blank except for one soft, glowing line. You are allowed to rest now. As you read this line, feel your shoulders drop. Feel the muscles of your face loosen. The simple act of recognizing your right to rest begins to calm neural pathways associated with vigilance. The amygdala's alarm fades. The prefrontal cortex regains its gentle control. This internal shift, subtle but profound, is the physiological foundation of inner peace. You sit in the quiet library, listening to the faint whisper of wind moving through open windows. Every sound feels soft, muted, respectful of your rest. Inner peace is like this, not dramatic, not overwhelming, but spacious. It gives you room to breathe, room to think, room to simply be. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine that every worry you carry today becomes a small paper bookmark. Place each one gently inside the blank book, not to erase it, not to deny its existence, but to set it down. The brain processes worries differently when they are acknowledged rather than avoided. Acknowledgement reduces cognitive load. It softens emotional resistance. It allows peace to expand. Let the library grow dimmer as moonlight fades into a silver glow. Let the stillness settle around you like a soft cloak. Inner peace is not something you chase. It is something you allow by loosening your grip on everything else. Tonight, you are allowed to rest. Tonight, the world can wait. Tonight, your mind returns to its quiet ancient library, the place where healing begins between one breath and the next. Courage is often imagined as something loud, a battle cry, a heroic leap, a dramatic moment of strength. But real courage, the kind that shapes healing, is quiet. It is the subtle decision to get up again, the gentle choice to keep going, the soft whisper inside your chest saying, "Try once more." Tonight, we explore the physiology of courage, not the kind found in stories, but the kind that keeps you moving through life one breath at a time. Courage begins in the prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for decision-making and emotional regulation. When faced with fear or uncertainty, this region negotiates with the amygdala, tempering its alarm signals. This negotiation allows you to consider options, evaluate risks, and choose action instead of paralysis. Even small acts of courage strengthen this neural pathway, creating a more resilient emotional landscape. Imagine now a vast desert under a twilight sky. The air is warm, tinged with the scent of sand and distant rain. The horizon stretches endlessly, shifting through colors of rose, gold, and deep indigo. You stand barefoot on the cool ground, feeling each grain of sand beneath your feet. There is nothing here to rush you, nothing to fear, nothing to prove. Only space, only breath. In the center of this desert stands a single lantern, glowing softly. It represents the courage you've carried, sometimes quietly, sometimes unknowingly. Approach it. Notice how the light flickers gently, as though alive. Courage often feels like this, not blazing, not overwhelming, but steady, persistent. Sam Berns once said that being brave isn't supposed to be easy. His version of courage wasn't dramatic. It was consistent. It was choosing to live fully despite limitations, choosing joy despite difficulty, choosing forward motion even through pain. That form of courage restructures the brain, increasing resilience, hope, and emotional flexibility. Place your hands around the lantern and feel its warmth seep into your palms. With each inhale, imagine drawing courage into your lungs. With each exhale, imagine releasing the fear that has kept you rigid, tired, or uncertain. Breathing this way calms the sympathetic nervous system and strengthens your sense of agency. Think of a moment in your life when you kept going even though you were afraid. When you spoke up, reached out, started again, rested when needed, or simply survived. You may not have called it bravery then, but your nervous system remembers. Your heart remembers. Your bones remember. In the quiet of this twilight desert, let the lantern's glow spread across your chest, down your arms, through your whole body. Courage does not erase fear. It lights the path through it. Let that gentle glow remain with you tonight, guiding you softly toward healing, resilience, and the quiet power of moving forward. Change is one of the only constants in the human experience, yet it remains one of the greatest sources of anxiety. Your brain, designed for predictability and safety, naturally resists change because unpredictability activates the amygdala, the region responsible for detecting potential threats. But as your breath softens and your body relaxes into this moment, we explore the healing science behind embracing change with gentleness rather than fear. The prefrontal cortex, the center of planning and perspective, plays a profound role in helping you adapt. When you consciously shift your focus from fear to curiosity, you activate networks associated with cognitive flexibility, a skill linked to emotional well-being and resilience. With each small reframe, each moment where you tell yourself, "This might bring something good," your brain learns to soften its alarms. Imagine now a quiet shoreline beneath a sky streaked with pale pink and gold. Waves roll in with slow, rhythmic breaths, each one slightly different from the last. They never resist the change in tide. They never cling to old patterns. Instead, they move with the pull of the moon, adjusting with grace. As you stand barefoot on the shore, the cool water washes over your feet, withdrawing and returning in an endless, gentle dance. This is nature's way of reminding you. Change doesn't need to be feared. It can be flowed with. Picture a small wooden boat rocking gently on the waves. Inside it lies a lantern, its flame flickering calmly despite the movement. The lantern represents your inner steadiness, the part of you that remains untouched even when life shifts around you. Neuroscience calls this core self-stability, the brain's ability to maintain identity and emotional grounding during change. You place your hand on the lantern, feeling its warmth. The flame does not waver, neither do you. Sam Berns embraced change in every moment of his life. His circumstances shifted constantly, yet he remained open, adaptable, and curious. He didn't wait for life to become easy before finding happiness. He found happiness in the changing landscape itself. This is the essence of emotional growth. Learning that uncertainty does not remove beauty. It often creates it. As evening settles, the waves glow with moonlit silver. You feel the sand beneath your feet, shifting slightly each time the water pulls away. And yet, you remain grounded. Change, like the tide, is a natural part of your existence. It shapes you, strengthens you, moves you toward unseen possibilities. You don't have to control the waves. You only have to breathe with them. Let the shoreline whisper this truth to you tonight. Peace is not found in the absence of change, but in the ability to remain gentle within it. In a world that often measures happiness through achievements, milestones, and dramatic successes, it's easy to overlook the extraordinary power of small joys. Yet your brain responds most deeply to the subtle, everyday experiences that bring comfort, familiarity, and warmth. Tonight, as your breath becomes slow and steady, we explore the soft science of small joys, the moments that quietly shape emotional healing. The brain's reward system, including the nucleus accumbens and the ventral tegmental area, lights up in response to simple pleasures. The warmth of sunlight on your skin, the sound of laughter, the smell of freshly brewed tea, the feel of clean sheets, the presence of someone who cares for you. These neural activations release dopamine and endorphins in gentle, sustainable waves, stabilizing your mood and enhancing resilience. Imagine now a tiny cafe tucked away on a peaceful cobblestone street. The air smells of vanilla and cinnamon. Soft music plays, a gentle melody that wraps itself around your heart. You sit by the window, watching golden leaves drift lazily to the ground. A warm mug rests between your hands, sending heat into your palms. Everything moves slowly here. Everything feels safe. This cafe exists only in your imagination, yet your brain responds as if it were real. Visualization activates sensory regions of the brain, creating physiological effects. Loosen muscles, slower heart rate, softer breathing. Even imagining joy is a form of healing. Sam Berns understood the value of small joys. He didn't hinge his happiness on monumental events. He found meaning in music rehearsals, conversations with friends, the next comic book issue, the next school event. These were not trivial moments. They were the foundations of a happy life. Now picture one small joy from your day or from your memory. Perhaps it is the sound of rain tapping softly against a window. Perhaps it is a warm smile exchanged with someone. Perhaps it is the comforting weight of a blanket as you drift toward sleep. Hold that small joy in your mind. Feel how your body reacts. A warmer chest, a slower breath, a subtle upward shift in mood. According to research in emotional neuroscience, intentionally noticing small joys enhances neuroplasticity in regions associated with gratitude, contentment, and overall well-being. These tiny moments create microscopic shifts that accumulate over time, transforming your emotional landscape. As you sit in the warm cafe of your mind, watching the last leaf fall outside the window, you understand something gentle and profound. Happiness does not always arrive loudly. Sometimes it comes as a soft whisper, a warm mug, a fleeting smile, a small moment that reminds your nervous system that life still holds beauty. Let that realization settle into your body like a quiet, glowing ember. And as it does, allow yourself to drift deeper into rest, knowing that healing often begins with the smallest of joys. There is a quiet kind of healing that can only happen when everything slows. Your breath, your thoughts, your expectations, even your heartbeat. In the stillness between one moment and the next, your nervous system finally has the chance to repair what stress has frayed. Tonight, we explore the restorative power of stillness. Not the absence of movement, but the presence of calm. Stillness activates the parasympathetic nervous system, particularly the vagus nerve, which reduces inflammation, lowers cortisol levels, and signals the brain that it is safe to relax. In this state, the body begins restoring cellular processes disrupted by stress. Muscles release tension, heart rhythms stabilize, and brain waves shift toward alpha and theta patterns associated with deep rest and creativity. Even a few minutes of mindful stillness can change the physiological landscape of your entire body. Imagine now a quiet lake hidden deep within a forest. The water is so still, it reflects the sky with perfect clarity, mirroring clouds, moonlight, and branches overhead. As you approach, the air becomes cool and fragrant with pine. You stand at the edge and look down, seeing not only the reflection of the sky, but the reflection of yourself, peaceful, unhurried, softly illuminated by the glow of the moon. You kneel at the edge of the lake and dip your fingers into the water. It is cool, smooth, and utterly silent. The surface ripples gently around your touch, and then, slowly, settles again. This is how the mind responds to stillness. A brief movement, followed by deeper quiet. The body remembers how to rest. The heart remembers how to soften. The mind remembers how to breathe. Sam Berns often spoke about the value of moments that were simple and quiet. Moments where he could just sit with music, with friends, with small joys. He didn't require noise or constant activity to feel alive. He understood that stillness was not emptiness, it was presence. Close your eyes now and imagine sitting on a wooden dock extending over the lake. Your feet dangle above the mirror-like surface. Your body feels heavy in a comforting way, as though gravity is gently wrapping you in a blanket. With each breath, imagine a small ripple radiating outward from your chest, reaching the water, then disappearing into the stillness. There is no rush here, no need to solve anything, no need to perform. The world continues without your effort, and in this moment, you are allowed to simply be. Let the lake's stillness settle into your muscles, your breath, your thoughts. Let it restore you quietly from the inside, one slow exhale at a time. Gratitude is often directed outward, toward people, events, comforts, or memories. But one of the most healing forms of gratitude is the kind you turn inward. Gratitude for yourself, for your persistence, for your quiet strength, for the countless ways you have survived moments no one else knew you were struggling through. Tonight, we explore the neuroscience of self-gratitude, the gentle recognition that you deserve appreciation too. When you express gratitude toward yourself, regions in the brain associated with reward, empathy, and emotional regulation activate just as strongly as when you express gratitude for others. This activation increases dopamine and serotonin, which support emotional balance, motivation, and long-term well-being. Self-gratitude also decreases amygdala reactivity, reducing the intensity of self-criticism and fear-based responses. Imagine now a candlelit room filled with warm, golden light. The air is calm, almost shimmering. In the center of the room sits a round mirror framed by polished wood. As you step closer, you notice that the reflection looking back at you is softer than usual, not burdened, not judged, but gently illuminated by the candlelight. It is a version of you that understands how hard you've tried, even on days when nothing seemed to work out. Place your hand on the mirror. Feel warmth radiate through your palm, as though the reflection is offering gratitude back to you. Whisper inwardly, even if the words feel unfamiliar. Thank you for trying. Thank you for enduring. Thank you for being here. This moment of self-directed gratitude is not arrogance. It is recognition. You have carried yourself through situations that would have broken others. You have healed in places no one saw. You have continued to grow, even when growth felt impossible. Your body remembers this effort. Your heart remembers. Your brain remembers and responds with compassion. Imagine now that the mirror begins to glow brighter, as though the gratitude you offer yourself is transforming into a soft inner light. It spreads from your palm up your arm into your chest, filling the spaces that once felt tired or empty. In psychological studies, this practice increases emotional resilience and strengthens the brain's capacity for self-soothing. Sam Berns embodied this quietly. He never sought pity. Instead, he honored the strength he had, acknowledged the life he lived, and recognized the beauty in simply being himself. Self-gratitude anchored him. Now let this light settle inside you. Let it warm the corners of your mind, the muscles of your shoulders, the space behind your heart. You have given gratitude outward for so long. Tonight, let it return to you. You deserve it. You always have. Expectations are woven into every corner of human life. What you hope for, what you fear, what you believe should happen next. Yet these invisible structures often create tension within the mind, pulling you between possibility and disappointment. As your body settles deeper into rest, we explore the gentle neuroscience of releasing expectations and how freeing your mind from rigid outcomes can transform your emotional landscape. Expectations activate the brain's predictive coding system. This system continually forecasts the future, comparing your predictions with reality. When reality matches expectation, dopamine rises in warm, satisfying waves. But when reality diverges, even slightly, the brain registers it as a prediction error, often triggering disappointment, frustration, or stress. Research shows that the more rigid the expectation, the larger the emotional shock when things do not align. Imagine now a vast open field beneath a pale glowing sunrise. The air is cool, carrying the scent of dew and fresh earth. In your hands, you hold a delicate paper lantern. On it, written faintly, are the expectations you've carried. Some old, some new. Some passed down from others. Some formed quietly within your own heart. They are not bad. They were simply attempts to understand the future. As you stand in the soft light of dawn, a gentle wind begins to rise. You loosen your grip on the lantern. Slowly, it lifts into the air, rising higher and higher. You watch it float, not as a loss, but as a release. The sky accepts it, the wind carries it, and your hands, now empty, feel lighter. Releasing expectations does not mean giving up. It means opening space for outcomes beyond your imagination. It shifts the brain from a state of rigidity to one of receptivity. The prefrontal cortex relaxes, reducing stress responses and increasing cognitive flexibility. This openness allows your nervous system to experience life with curiosity rather than fear. Sam Berns embraced this principle effortlessly. He did not cling to a narrow definition of what his life should be. Instead, he opened himself to the possibilities available to him: music, friendship, scientific wonder, laughter. His happiness arose not from fulfilling expectations, but from experiencing life as it unfolded. Let yourself breathe deeply now. With each inhale, imagine your chest expanding with openness. With each exhale, imagine releasing one small expectation, a worry, a pressure, a hope that has become too heavy to carry. Watch as they drift upward into a sky that is vast enough to hold them all. As the dawn brightens, the field around you feels quiet, spacious, and safe. You are not empty without expectations. You are free. Freedom allows your nervous system to relax and your mind to discover new forms of joy. Let that openness settle into your breath tonight, soft and steady like the rising sun. Trust in yourself is not born from certainty. It is born from gentle acknowledgement, recognizing that despite your fears, despite your doubts, you have carried yourself through every moment of your life so far. Tonight, we explore the neuroscience of self-trust, the subtle confidence that emerges when you understand your own reliability. Self-trust activates networks in the prefrontal cortex involved in decision-making, emotional regulation, and long-term planning. It reduces activity in the amygdala, lowering fear responses and enhancing calm. When you trust yourself, your brain interprets challenges as manageable rather than threatening. Your body responds with steadier breath, looser muscles, and increased resilience. Imagine now a quiet mountain path illuminated by the soft glow of early moonlight. You walk slowly, each step crunching gently over fallen leaves. The path curves ahead, disappearing into shadows. You do not know exactly where it leads, but you trust your steps. You trust your pace. You trust that your feet will find solid ground. In the distance, you hear a stream flowing. Its sound is calm, rhythmic, reassuring. You follow the path until you reach the water's edge. Moonlight glimmers on its surface like scattered silver coins. As you kneel beside the stream, you notice your reflection. Calm, steady, and touched by moonlight. Not flawless, not unafraid, but steady. Place your hand on the surface. The water cools your skin, rippling outward. Those ripples represent every moment you have navigated uncertainty and still found a way forward. Your reflection returns, clearer than before. This is self-trust, seeing your fears, acknowledging your doubts, and believing in your capacity anyway. Sam Berns radiated this quality quietly. He trusted his ability to find solutions, to adapt, to seek joy. His trust did not come from perfect health or perfect circumstances. It came from knowing he could face difficulty with courage and creativity. Think gently now of a decision you once made, a decision that required courage. You may have doubted yourself at the time, but you acted anyway. That memory is proof. Self-trust grows from evidence, not fantasy. And you have far more evidence than you realize. The stream beside you continues to murmur, its water moving confidently around stones and bends. It does not question its direction. It does not fear the unknown. It flows because flowing is what it was made to do. And you too were made to move forward, even gently, even slowly. Let the reflection settle. Let the water's confidence become your own. Trust that you can handle what comes next, not because life will be perfect, but because you have already survived so much. Tonight, feel the quiet strength of self-trust settling into your bones, as steady as moonlight on a mountain stream. There is a rhythm inside you, quiet, steady, ancient, older than memory, older than thought. It is the rhythm of your breath, the gentle rise and fall that has carried you through every moment of your life. Tonight, as we journey deeper into calm, we explore how this simple rhythm shapes your emotional healing and how understanding the biology of breath can bring profound peace to your inner world. Breathing is the only bodily function that is both automatic and voluntary. This unique design allows it to act as a bridge between your conscious mind and your autonomic nervous system. When your breath becomes slow and steady, the vagus nerve activates, lowering heart rate, reducing inflammation, and calming the amygdala, the brain's alarm center. This is why deep breathing feels like dissolving tension from the inside out. Your biology is shifting into a state of safety. Imagine now a vast open field illuminated by soft twilight. Fireflies drift slowly through the air, glowing like tiny floating stars. The grass moves gently beneath a cool evening breeze. You stand in this quiet space, feeling the field breathe with you, expanding with each inhale, softening with each exhale. The world around you synchronizes with your rhythm. Inhale, the cool air filling your lungs like a wave of silver light. Exhale, the warmth leaving your body like a soft, fading glow. This rhythmic breathing opens the diaphragm, signaling the brain to release tension. The body interprets the breath as a message. You are safe. You can rest. Neuroscientists call this respiratory entrainment, the alignment of brain waves with breathing patterns. Slow breathing induces alpha and theta waves, the same frequencies seen in meditation, creativity, and deep sleep. As you continue to breathe, imagine each inhale gathering light from the fireflies, filling your chest with golden warmth. Each exhale releases a thin mist of stress, dissolving into the twilight. Your muscles soften, your thoughts slow. Your heartbeat finds its natural rhythm, unforced, unhurried. Sam Berns embodied this principle not through breathwork, but through attitude. His philosophy of focusing on what he could do, surrounding himself with people he loved, and always moving forward, operated like a psychological rhythm, steadying, grounding, and healing. His emotional world maintained its rhythm even in the presence of difficulty. Now imagine lying down in the grass, the evening sky stretching infinitely above you. Each star pulses gently, like a slow, universal heartbeat. You breathe with the stars. Inhale, exhale, feeling the quiet rhythm of existence moving through you. This is not just relaxation, it is biological harmony. Your body is remembering how to rest, how to heal, how to find peace in its own natural tempo. Tonight, let your breath be your anchor. Let it guide you into deeper stillness, deeper softness, deeper healing. Every inhale is renewal. Every exhale is release. And within that rhythm, you rediscover the quiet strength that has always lived inside you. Perfection is a myth the mind clings to when it feels unsafe. But the body, the heart, the nervous system, the deeper layers of your being does not need perfection to heal. It needs gentleness. It needs acceptance. It needs room to be human. Tonight, we explore the neuroscience and psychology of imperfection and how embracing your flaws invites healing into places you once kept hidden. When you chase perfection, the brain's stress circuits, especially the amygdala and insula, activate repeatedly. These regions interpret imperfection as danger, leading to chronic tension, self-criticism, and emotional fatigue. In contrast, when you embrace imperfection with compassion, the prefrontal cortex and anterior cingulate cortex engage, promoting empathy, self-kindness, and emotional regulation. Your inner world becomes softer, steadier, and more resilient. Imagine now a small pottery studio filled with warm lamplight. Clay dust floats gently in the air, shimmering as it catches the glow. On a wooden table sits a row of bowls, each handmade, each uneven, each bearing small marks from the hands that shaped them. They are imperfect, yet deeply beautiful. Their flaws tell a story of care, effort, and humanity. You pick up one of the bowls. Its rim is slightly crooked. A thumbprint dips into one side. A small crack runs along its surface, carefully, repaired with golden lacquer. This method, called kintsugi in Japanese tradition, celebrates imperfections by filling cracks with gold, transforming them into part of the object's beauty rather than hiding them. As you hold the bowl, imagine it as a reflection of yourself. All the moments where you felt broken, all the places you tried to hide, all the cracks that formed during difficult chapters of your life. And yet, here you are, still whole, still beautiful, still capable of holding light. Let your breath deepen as you imagine filling your own cracks with gold, not to erase them, but to honor them. Each repaired line represents resilience. Each imperfection represents growth. Each flaw is a testament to how much you've lived. Sam Berns understood this without ever saying it directly. His life was not perfect. His body was not perfect. His circumstances were not perfect. But his joy flourished because he did not wait for perfection before allowing himself to live fully. Now imagine placing the golden repaired bowl back on the table. The lamplight catches its shimmering cracks, and the entire room glows with gentle warmth. You understand now that perfection was never the goal. The goal was wholeness, softness, acceptance. Your imperfections are not shortcomings. They are evidence that you are alive, evidence that you have survived, evidence that you are healing. Let that truth settle into your chest like warm gold, sealing the places within you that once felt unworthy of love. Tonight, you are whole, not despite your imperfections, but because of them. Hope is more than a feeling. It is a biochemical process, one that shapes the architecture of the brain, alters the body's physiology, and gently redirects the course of your life. Tonight, as your mind grows quieter and your breath moves softly in and out, we explore the science of hope and how even the smallest glimmer of it supports your healing. Hope activates the brain's dopaminergic pathways, particularly in the prefrontal cortex and nucleus accumbens. These pathways regulate motivation, emotional resilience, and the ability to envision a better future. When you feel hopeful, even briefly, the brain releases dopamine in a steady, stabilizing flow. This chemical shift encourages forward movement, reduces anxiety, and strengthens problem-solving abilities. Hope does not need to be grand. Even a tiny spark can change your body's chemistry. Imagine now a dark forest just before dawn. The air is cold and still, scented with pine and earth. You walk along a narrow path, unsure of where it leads. The darkness feels vast, yet not frightening, only quiet, waiting. Then, up ahead, you see a faint glow emerging between the trees. It is small, like the very first hint of sunrise. As you walk toward it, the glow brightens. A soft golden light spreads between the branches. The forest slowly transforms. Trees illuminated, mist turning to silver, shadows becoming gentle rather than heavy. This moment is not yet morning, but it is the promise of morning. It is hope. Neuroscientists describe hope as a future-directed emotion, one that activates imagination, planning, and resilience. When Sam Berns spoke about having something to look forward to, whether it was a comic book or a school event, he was describing hope's biological foundation. The anticipation of future joy gave his nervous system strength. Think now of one small thing you are looking forward to. It does not need to be important. It can be simple: a warm drink, a quiet morning, a conversation, a moment of laughter, a new idea. Let this small future moment rise in your mind like the glow between the trees. Feel how your chest expands slightly, how your breath becomes just a little deeper. Hope does not erase difficulty. It gives your nervous system the strength to face it. It turns emotional paralysis into gentle movement. It whispers, there is something good ahead. As the forest around you brightens, imagine the sun finally lifting from the horizon. Light pours through the trees. The cold air warms. Your path becomes clear. You feel lighter, steadier, more connected to yourself. Let that sunrise settle into your mind. Let it alter your internal chemistry. Let hope become an anchor, soft, subtle, steady. Human beings do not simply seek pleasure or safety. They seek meaning. It is one of the brain's deepest drives, rooted in regions that regulate identity, emotional balance, and long-term well-being. Tonight, as your body sinks deeper into rest, we explore why meaning is essential for healing and why your life is richer than you sometimes realize. Meaning engages the default mode network of the brain, a system involved in self-reflection, narrative building, and understanding your place in the world. When you find meaning in your experiences, your brain integrates memories more coherently, reduces stress responses, and increases serotonin production. Meaning creates emotional stability, helping you understand not just what happened, but why it matters. Imagine now a quiet hillside overlooking a vast valley at sunset. The sky is painted with streaks of amber, lavender, and fading gold. You sit on a smooth stone, warm from the day's sunlight, and look out over the landscape. The valley stretches endlessly. Peaks, rivers, forests, small villages glowing with evening fires. As you watch, everything begins to make sense in a soft, unspoken way. Meaning often arrives like this: not loud, not dramatic, but quietly, like an exhale. It arrives when scattered moments connect. A conversation that changed you, a challenge that grew you, a loss that shaped you, a joy that anchored you. Your brain builds meaning from these moments, weaving them into a story that helps you understand yourself with more tenderness. Sam Berns lived a life filled with meaning, not because of what he lacked, but because of what he loved. Music, science, friendship, learning. His story shows that meaning is not found in circumstances. It is created through perspective, through presence, through noticing what matters. Think now of a moment in your life that once felt heavy, confusing, or painful. Then imagine standing on the hillside, watching that moment from afar, from a place of calm, from a place of perspective. With distance, meaning begins to emerge, not to justify the pain, but to transform it into something understandable, something integrated, something softer. Meaning is healing because it organizes your emotional world. It reduces the chaos within. It strengthens the narrative that you are moving through life with purpose, even when the path is unclear. As the sun sets behind the mountains, the valley glows in deep, gentle hues. You breathe in the warm air, feeling your story settle inside you with clarity and peace. Meaning does not erase struggle. It gives it a place within the greater landscape of who you are. Let that understanding sink into your heart tonight. You are not lost. Your life is not random. Every moment, even the painful ones, is part of a larger, meaningful story. Compassion is often described as a moral virtue, something soft and emotional. But in reality, it is also a powerful biological force. Acts of kindness, whether given or received, reshape the brain and body in ways that support healing, resilience, and emotional balance. Tonight, as your breath slows and your body drifts deeper into calm, we explore the measurable science of compassion. When you feel or express compassion, the brain releases oxytocin, a hormone that increases feelings of safety, trust, and connection. Oxytocin lowers blood pressure, reduces inflammation, and softens amygdala reactivity. Regions such as the anterior insula and prefrontal cortex activate as well, enhancing empathy and emotional understanding. Compassion literally rewires the brain towards stability. Imagine now a quiet garden illuminated by warm lanterns. The path beneath your feet is made of smooth stone, and flowering trees arch overhead, their petals drifting down like fragrant snow. In the center of the garden sits a bench carved from pale wood. As you approach, you see someone sitting there. Not a stranger, not a friend, but yourself at a younger age. This younger version of you looks up. There is a softness in their eyes, but also a hint of tiredness, a hint of fear, a hint of hope. Sit beside them. Feel the bench beneath you. Notice the small rise and fall of their breath. Compassion begins with recognition, seeing suffering without judgment. Neuroscientists call this affective resonance, the brain's ability to mirror the emotions of another. But compassion goes further. It activates circuits of care, support, and soothing. As you look at your younger self, imagine placing a gentle hand over their heart. Whisper softly, "You did the best you could. You survived more than you should have, and I am proud of you." Your younger self exhales, long and slow. Their shoulders relax, their gaze softens. This is the biological power of compassion. Even imagined kindness releases oxytocin and serotonin, calming the nervous system. Sam Berns lived with a quiet compassion for himself and others. He did not approach life with bitterness, but with understanding, with softness, with humor. Compassion helped him navigate challenges without losing hope. Now imagine petals falling around you in slow motion, settling gently at your feet. As each petal touches the ground, feel a wave of warmth spreading through your chest. This warmth is not imagined. It reflects your nervous system shifting into a state of connection and safety. Compassion is not weakness. It is strength. It is the ability to stay soft in a world that can be hard. and when directed inward, it becomes one of the most powerful healing forces you possess. Let that warmth linger in your breath, in your heartbeat, in your thoughts. You deserve compassion, not just from others, but from yourself. Letting go is one of the hardest emotional experiences a human can face. Whether it is letting go of expectations, relationships, identities, or old dreams, the process often feels like losing a part of yourself. But neuroscience reveals a surprising truth. Letting go is not a loss. It is a neurological recalibration, a clearing of old patterns to make space for new healing. The brain clings to familiarity because of the hippocampus and amygdala, which store emotional memories and detect threats. Even painful patterns feel safe simply because they are known. Letting go requires the prefrontal cortex to override these survival instincts and reframe the memory or attachment. This process can initially bring discomfort, but it ultimately reduces stress and increases emotional flexibility. Imagine now a wide river flowing through a peaceful valley. The water is cool and clear, reflecting the sky's soft shades of blue and lavender. You kneel at the riverbank, holding a small boat carved from smooth wood. Inside, the boat sits an object representing something you need to let go of: a regret, a memory, a fear, a version of yourself that no longer fits. Exhale gently. Place the object in the boat and release it into the water. The current takes it slowly at first, then carries it farther and farther until it becomes just a tiny shape drifting downstream. You watch without resistance, without grasping, without judgment. You simply watch. This visualization activates neural pathways linked to closure and emotional integration. Studies show that symbolic acts help the brain transition from rumination, cycles of repetitive, stressful thinking, to acceptance, which reduces amygdala activation and restores calm. Sam Berns embodied the art of letting go with grace. He let go of bitterness. He let go of comparisons. He let go of what he could not control. And in that letting go, he made room for joy, connection, and purpose. The river beneath you continues to flow, its surface shimmering with soft light. You place your hand into the water. It is cool, refreshing, alive. As the current moves past your fingers, it carries away tension, sorrow, heaviness. You feel lighter, not empty, but spacious. Letting go does not mean forgetting. It means no longer carrying what has become too heavy. It means freeing your nervous system from burdens it was never meant to hold forever. As you stand by the riverbank, the breeze lifts your hair, the sunlight warms your back, and the sound of flowing water soothes your mind. You realize something gentle and true. You are allowed to release. You are allowed to heal. You are allowed to continue forward, lighter than before. Acceptance is not resignation. It is not giving up. It is a gentle shift in the nervous system, a release of resistance that calms the brain, softens emotional tension, and opens the doorway to peace. When you accept what is, rather than fighting what cannot be changed, your body moves from a state of internal battle to one of profound rest. Neuroscience calls this shift cognitive reappraisal. When the prefrontal cortex reframes an experience without judgment, the amygdala's alarm signals decrease. Muscles unclench. Breath deepens. The internal storm calms. Acceptance allows your biology to return to equilibrium. Imagine now a quiet mountaintop bathed in morning light. The sky is clear, pale blue. The air is cool and crisp. You stand beside a large stone, smooth and warm beneath your palm. Below you, Clouds drift slowly through the valleys like soft white rivers. Everything is still. Everything is spacious. In your hand, you hold a small stone representing something you've struggled to accept. An event, a truth, a limitation, a change in your life. Instead of fighting it, instead of gripping it tightly, you place it gently on the large stone beside you. The moment you release it, your shoulders drop, your heart loosens, your mind exhales. Acceptance does not erase hurt. It frees your nervous system from the exhausting effort of resisting reality. Sam Berns embodied acceptance deeply. He acknowledged his challenges without bitterness. He recognized what he could not change, and then placed his energy into what he could. His clarity came not from denial, but from peace. As you stand on the mountaintop, sunlight warms your skin. A breeze brushes past. You watch the clouds drift below, endlessly forming and reforming, never resisting their shape. Let this be your metaphor. You can shift, soften, and breathe through life's changing forms. Place another stone, another truth, on the warm surface beside you. Feel its weight leave your hand. Feel your body become just a little lighter. Acceptance is the quiet courage to say, "This is where I am, and I am still worthy of peace." Let that truth settle into your chest as the mountaintop glows brighter around you. Limitation is often framed as loss, but the brain interprets it differently. When faced with constraints, the mind becomes more creative, more adaptable, more attuned to what truly matters. This is known as adaptive gain, a process where the prefrontal cortex prioritizes meaning, presence, and clarity over endless possibility. In many ways, limitation refines your inner world. Imagine a small room, lit by a single window. Sunlight enters in a perfect square on the floor, warm and golden. There's not much inside the room. A table, a chair, a vase with a single flower, but it feels calm, peaceful, intentional. Nothing distracts you. Nothing overwhelms you. In this simplicity, every detail becomes meaningful. You sit at the table, running your fingers along the wood grain. The stillness feels nourishing. Your nervous system responds to this simplicity by reducing cognitive load, less noise, fewer demands, more space to breathe. Studies show that when attention is not scattered across too many stimuli, the brain produces more dopamine from small, gentle pleasures. This is why Sam Berns thrived not despite his limitations, but alongside them. His boundaries sharpened his focus. They clarified what mattered: music, friendship, learning, joy. His life was not small. It was concentrated, rich in meaning, distilled in purpose. Imagine now that the flower in the vase begins to open slowly, petal by petal. You watch with quiet fascination. In a world of limitations, this one small bloom becomes miraculous. Your breath deepens. Your mind quiets. Your body settles. Limitation teaches presence. Presence teaches appreciation. And appreciation teaches joy. Think of a limitation in your own life, something that once felt like a prison. Now imagine holding it gently, seeing it not as confinement, but as a frame, a boundary that directs your attention to what truly nourishes you. The sunlight streaming through the window shifts as the day progresses, painting the room in soft golds and ambers. Nothing outside changes, but your perception does. This is emotional alchemy, turning limitation into focus, focus into gratitude, gratitude into joy. You sit quietly in the golden light, understanding something profound. You do not need endless possibility to live a meaningful life. You only need presence. You only need clarity. You only need the gentle courage to find beauty within the shape of what is. Let this room become a sanctuary within your mind. Simple, peaceful, bright, where limitation is not loss, but guidance. Where joy grows, not from abundance, but from attention. The present moment is the only place where your nervous system can truly rest. The mind often drifts into the past, replaying memories, or into the future, predicting outcomes. But the body, the breath, the heartbeat, the subtle rhythms of your biology exists only here in this single unfolding moment. Tonight, we explore the science of presence and why it is one of the most powerful healing states available to you. When you direct your attention to the present, the default mode network of the brain, responsible for rumination and self-referential thought, begins to quiet. Activity shifts toward the salience network and sensory cortex, anchoring you in immediate experience. This reduces anxiety, softens emotional overwhelm, and lowers cortisol. Presence isn't a spiritual trick. It is a neurobiological recalibration. Imagine now a tranquil bamboo grove. The air is cool and fragrant, filled with the gentle rustle of leaves swaying in the wind. A narrow path winds through tall stalks of jade-green bamboo, each one rising like a pillar toward the sky. Sunlight filters through the leaves, creating shifting patterns of gold on the ground. As you walk, your senses heighten. The crisp sound of leaves brushing, the faint earthy scent, the coolness of shade, the warmth of sunlight in your skin. Each detail brings you deeper into the present. Each breath pulls you closer to calm. You reach a small clearing where a single stone lantern stands. Its flame flickers softly, steady, and warm. You kneel beside it, feeling the earth beneath your palms. The world narrows to this simple scene. Bamboo whispering, light shimmering, breath flowing. There is no before, no after, only now. In this state, your brain enters what neuroscientists call transient hypofrontality, where overactive thinking regions quiet down and sensory awareness expands. This is why presence feels like freedom, as though a pressure you never noticed is suddenly lifted. Sam Berns lived many of his happiest moments in this kind of presence. Marching with his band, laughing with friends, enjoying music. His joy often emerged not from thinking about the future, but from experiencing the moment fully. Let yourself breathe deeply in the bamboo grove. Follow the inhale as it fills your chest, and the exhale as it softens your body. With each breath, notice something small. The way the light dances on a leaf, the way the wind curls around your skin, the way quiet settles into your bones. Presence is not an escape. It is a return, a coming home to yourself. Stay here in this grove a moment longer, letting the present soften your mind like sunlight on cool stone. Resilience is not a personality trait. It is a biological process, a dynamic conversation between your emotions, your nervous system, and your environment. Tonight, we explore the science behind resilience, the quiet strength that allows you to recover, rebuild, and rise again, no matter how many challenges you face. Resilience involves the HPA axis, the brain's stress regulation system. When activated in healthy rhythms, this system helps you respond to stress and then return to equilibrium. But resilience is not just about stress tolerance. It also involves neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire after hardship. Each time you adapt, you strengthen circuits associated with courage, problem solving, and emotional regulation. Imagine now A tall, ancient tree standing at the edge of a valley. Its trunk is thick and weathered, marked by years of storms. Branches stretch wide, leaves shimmering in the soft wind. This tree has faced seasons of drought, seasons of flood, seasons of harsh cold and scorching heat. And yet it stands, rooted deeply, reaching upward. Walk toward the tree. Place your hand on its trunk. You feel its steadiness, its quiet endurance. It doesn't resist the wind. It moves with it. It doesn't fear the storm. It bends, but does not break. Its resilience is not in its rigidity, but in its flexibility. You sit beneath the tree's canopy. The air smells of earth and moss. Beams of sunlight filter through leaves, warming your face. As you rest here, the tree becomes a mirror of your own resilience. Think of a time you were bent by life, pushed, strained, tested, and yet you continued. You adapted. You found a way through. That moment was not weakness. It was proof of your resilience. Studies show that people who develop resilience have thicker neural connections in the prefrontal cortex and greater regulation of the amygdala. This means that with each challenge you overcome, your brain becomes more capable of handling the next. You are strengthening, even now, even in rest. Sam Berns embodied this truth beautifully. He faced immense challenges, yet found joy, purpose, and forward motion. His resilience was not loud. It was gentle, consistent, persistent. As the wind rustles the leaves overhead, imagine its sound as your own inner voice, whispering, "You have survived every difficult moment so far. You are stronger than you think, and you are still growing." Let this truth settle into your breath, your heartbeat, your bones. You are resilient, not because you have never been shaken, but because you continue to rise again and again. Forgiveness is often thought of as something you offer to others, but one of the deepest forms of healing comes from forgiving yourself. Neuroscience shows that self-forgiveness reduces activity in the medial prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for self-judgment, and increases activation in regions linked to empathy and emotional regulation. This internal shift lessens stress, lowers blood pressure, improves sleep, and restores emotional stability. Imagine now a quiet shoreline as the moon rises over calm waters. The sand is cool beneath your feet, and the ocean moves in slow, rhythmic breaths, each wave washing gently across the shore, before withdrawing with a soft whisper. You walk along the edge of the water until you find a smooth stone lying half buried in the sand. This stone represents something you've held against yourself, an old mistake, a moment of regret, a version of you whom you've never truly forgiven. Pick it up. Feel its coolness. Feel its weight. You don't need to judge it. You only need to acknowledge it. Walk into the shallow water. Let the waves touch your ankles, soothing and steady. When you're ready, open your hand and let the stone fall into the sea. Watch it disappear beneath the surface. The ocean does not reject it. It absorbs it, carries it, dissolves its edges over time. Forgiving yourself works the same way. It does not erase what happened. It softens its grip on your nervous system. With each breath, feel your chest loosen. Feel your heartbeat become steadier. The brain releases tension when it no longer carries the weight of self-blame. As you walk back onto the sand, notice how your footsteps lighten with each step. You have not lost anything. You have reclaimed space inside yourself. Sam Berns embodied self-forgiveness through acceptance and gentle self-awareness. He didn't waste energy feeling badly for himself. He acknowledged his limitations without resentment and treated his life with tenderness rather than judgment. Tonight, allow yourself the same grace. You are worthy of forgiveness, not because you are perfect, but because you are human. Let the ocean keep the stone. Let your heart keep the lesson. Let your body keep the peace that follows forgiveness. Purpose is more than direction. It is nourishment for the brain. Research shows that having a sense of purpose activates regions involved in motivation, emotional regulation, and long-term well-being, including the ventromedial prefrontal cortex and anterior cingulate cortex. People with purpose experience lower rates of stress, improved immune function, and increased resilience. Purpose gives your nervous system something steady to anchor to. Imagine now a lantern-lit path winding through a forest at dusk. Each lantern glows warmly, forming a gentle trail through the trees. You walk slowly, noticing the soft crunch of leaves beneath your feet and the faint hum of insects in the quiet air. Along the path are small wooden signs, each carved with a simple word: joy, curiosity, connection, creativity, kindness. These represent the small purposes that shape your life, not grand achievements, but quiet daily motivations. You pause beside one lantern and place your hand over the warm glass. You feel the steady pulse of light beneath your palm. Purpose feels like this: warm, guiding, steady. Many people misunderstand purpose, imagining it must be something massive or world-changing. But the brain responds most deeply to small, consistent purpose. Finishing a book, nurturing a passion, connecting with a friend, learning something new, taking care of your body, expressing kindness. These simple motivations release dopamine gradually, building long-term satisfaction rather than fleeting excitement. Sam Berns described purpose beautifully: something to look forward to, something that pulls you forward, even through difficulty. A comic book, a football game, a conversation, a dream about the future. Purpose kept his heart open and his mind steady. Now imagine choosing one lantern from the path, one intention that feels meaningful to you right now. Lift it gently. Its warmth spreads through your hands, up your arms, into your chest. The forest glows softly as you walk forward with your chosen lantern lighting the way. Your purpose does not need to make sense to anyone else. It does not need to be profound. It only needs to matter to you. As you continue walking, the lantern's glow illuminates your face. You feel calm, guided, connected. Purpose doesn't erase uncertainty, but it softens it. It gives you a direction, a reason, a gentle tug toward the future. Let your purpose be small, warm, and steady tonight. Let it light your path one soft step at a time. Rest is not laziness. Rest is a biological necessity, one that your nervous system depends on to repair, integrate, and restore your emotional and physical health. Yet many people struggle to grant themselves permission to rest, believing they must earn it. Tonight, we explore the science of rest and why allowing yourself to pause is a profound act of healing. During rest, the brain shifts into default mode network activity, which processes emotions, consolidates memories, and repairs neural pathways. The parasympathetic nervous system activates, lowering cortisol, softening muscles, and reducing inflammation. Even brief moments of intentional rest can change your body's chemistry in measurable ways. Imagine now a quiet cabin deep within a snowy forest. Warm golden light pours from the windows, casting soft glows onto the blanketed ground. Inside, a fire crackles gently, filling the room with a comforting warmth. You enter the cabin, closing the door behind you. The world outside becomes silent, as if time itself has paused. On a soft bed near the fire rests a thick wool blanket. You sit down and feel the warmth radiating into your skin. There is no urgency here, no expectations, no noise demanding your attention. Only the fire's rhythm, only the quiet, only the softness. As you lie back, the blanket wraps around you like a gentle embrace. Your breath slows. Your muscles melt into the mattress. This is the biology of rest. Your body finally receiving the permission it has needed for so long. Sam Berns lived with a sense of presence that naturally allowed rest. He understood that life wasn't about constant effort. It was about savoring moments, enjoying connection, and honoring what truly mattered. Rest was part of his joy. Now imagine the firelight flickering across the ceiling in warm, dancing patterns. Each flicker corresponds with a softening inside your mind. The edges of your thoughts become blurry, quiet, light. The nervous system interprets this environment as safety, and in safety, the deepest healing begins. You are allowed to rest, not because you have completed everything, not because you have earned it, but because you are human. Let the warmth, the silence, and the softness cradle you tonight. Let rest become your medicine. Gratitude directed outward to the people who have shaped your life activates powerful emotional and biological processes. When you feel gratitude, the brain releases oxytocin and serotonin, chemicals that promote trust, strengthen relationships, and create long-lasting emotional stability. Gratitude enhances resilience by reinforcing the sense that you are supported, valued, and connected. Imagine now a circular stone courtyard illuminated by soft lanterns. In the center stands a fountain, its water flowing gently in a rhythmic cascade. Around the courtyard are empty chairs, each one representing someone who has brought light into your life, even in the smallest ways. You walk slowly around the circle, imagining each chair becoming occupied as memories arise. A friend who listened when you needed it most. A family member who believed in you. A teacher who encouraged your strengths. A stranger whose kindness shifted your day. A mentor who saw potential in you before you saw it yourself. As each figure takes their seat, the courtyard glows brighter. The lanterns shimmer with warm light. The fountain sounds softer, gentler, more harmonious. This visualization mirrors what happens in the brain. Gratitude creates neural coherence, aligning emotional and cognitive processes and enhancing well-being. Now choose one chair, sit beside it. Picture the person who belongs there. See them as clearly as you can. Their expression, their warmth, the feeling of safety they brought into your life. Whisper quietly, even in your mind, "Thank you for being part of my story." Your heart softens, your breath deepens. Gratitude has that effect. It opens emotional channels that stress once closed. It reminds your nervous system that you are not alone in the world. Sam Berns cherished the people around him, his family, his friends, his mentors. They were his source of strength, grounding, joy. His happiness was not solitary. It was woven with the connections that supported him. As you sit in the courtyard, the chairs around you filled with the presence of those who helped shape you. A sense of warmth spreads through your chest. The fountain glows. The lanterns shine. The night becomes beautiful, rich, safe. Gratitude for others is a bridge between the past and the present, between the heart and the mind, between who you were and who you are becoming. Let that bridge hold you tonight, gently and securely. Let gratitude soften your inner world. Let connection deepen your peace. Moving forward is not about rushing. It is not about pretending everything is fine, nor is it about ignoring pain. It is a biological rhythm, a gentle shift in the nervous system from survival toward growth. When you move forward, even in the smallest ways, your brain releases neurochemicals that enhance motivation, emotional stability, and resilience. This forward motion activates the mesolimbic dopamine pathway, often called the anticipation circuit. Even the slightest sense of progress, one step, one breath, one thought, creates a cascade of healing neurochemistry. Dopamine rises, cortisol falls, the amygdala quiets, the prefrontal cortex strengthens its grip, allowing clarity, emotional regulation, and hope to take hold. Imagine now a winding forest path illuminated by soft beams of sunlight filtering through tall trees. The air smells of moss and pine. Leaves crunch gently beneath your feet. There is no rush, no destination you must reach, no expectations, only the gentle invitation to take the next step, and then the next. The forest grows brighter with each step you take, not because the world changes, but because you do. Your body interprets movement as empowerment. Your mind interprets progress as possibility. Even slow progress is healing. Stop for a moment. Place your hand on the bark of a tall, ancient tree. Feel its texture, rough, strong, timeless. Trees grow upward and outward, but they do not do so quickly. Their forward motion is quiet, patient, steady, and yet, every year, they rise a little higher. You too have grown this way, slowly, quietly, steadily. Sam Berns embodied this truth beautifully. To him, moving forward didn't require extraordinary effort. It simply meant having something to look forward to, something small, something joyful, something that made tomorrow feel a little brighter. Forward motion gave his life meaning and his mind peace. Resume walking the forest path. Notice how the sunlight glimmers like scattered gold across the ground. Notice how each step feels lighter than the last. Your nervous system interprets this somewhere deep inside. You are capable. You are progressing. You are healing. Forward motion doesn't erase the past, but it transforms your relationship with it. Moving forward is not one big leap. It is thousands of tiny, gentle steps. Feel the forest shift around you as you walk. Feel your breath deepen. Feel your heart expand. In every step, the biology of hope strengthens inside you. Tonight, let your steps be small. Let them be slow. Let them be enough. There comes a moment when your body settles, your breath softens, and your mind opens to a deeper stillness. A moment where the journey you've taken integrates quietly into your heart. Tonight's final chapter is not an ending, but a gentle settling, a soft landing, a peaceful closing of the day. Healing is not about perfection. It is not about controlling life or erasing difficulty. It is about finding meaning in your experiences, surrounding yourself with those who care, allowing yourself to be human, and remembering that peace is not somewhere out there. It lives quietly inside you, waiting to be felt. Imagine now a wide meadow under a night sky filled with stars. The grass moves in slow waves beneath a gentle breeze. Fireflies flicker like tiny floating lanterns. In the center of the meadow stands a wooden table, illuminated by a single candle. You approach the table and find a small notebook waiting for you. When you open it, the pages are filled with the lessons of your journey, You are stronger than your struggles. You are worthy of rest and gentleness. You do not need perfection to be whole. You heal each time you breathe with presence. You are held by the people who love you. You can forgive yourself. You can move forward with softness. Your life is meaningful simply because it is yours. As you read, the candle flame flickers, steady, warm, welcoming. Its glow reflects everything Sam Berns embodied: acceptance, simplicity, courage, joy, community, hope. Now close the notebook and place your hand over it. Feel the warmth beneath your palm. All that you have learned tonight settles gently in your body, like soft light filling every corner of your being. Look up at the sky. The stars shimmer, vast and calm. The universe does not rush you. It holds you. It waits with you. It breathes with you. Your breath slows. Your thoughts drift. Your body becomes heavier in the most peaceful way. You have walked through meaning. You have sat with compassion. You have forgiven. You have rested. You have moved gently forward. You have arrived at stillness. And now, as you stand in the quiet meadow beneath the stars, a soft whisper moves through the night air, whether from your own heart or from something greater. You are safe now. Drift away. Drift away. Let the whisper wrap around you like a warm blanket. Let the candle glow fade softly. Let the stars blur gently. Let your mind drift into sleep with peace, purpose, and profound calm. Your healing continues as you rest. Your story unfolds with gentleness. Your life, just as it is enough. Good night. Hello again, gently. No need to open your eyes. No need to move. Just stay exactly where you are as the world softens around you. You've reached the end of this healing journey tonight, and now your only task is to drift. In the sleepy science zone, every breath you take is a quiet experiment in peace. Every heartbeat a reminder that your body knows how to heal. Every soft thought a step toward deeper rest. There is nothing left to do, nothing left to fix, nothing left to think about. Just allow the calm to settle, like warm evening light sinking slowly beyond the horizon. The music behind you begins to blur and stretch. Little waves of sound, soft and glowing, carrying you deeper into the space where wakefulness dissolves. Your breath becomes slower. Your body becomes heavier. Your thoughts become lighter. And as these last words fade, I want you to hear only this: you are safe now. You are safe now. Drift away. Drift away. Drift away. The Sleepy Science Zone will stay here with you, quietly, softly, without interruption, as the music continues for a few more minutes, slowly dissolving into silence. Good night, sweet dreams, and may peace follow you gently into sleep.